Hello everyone, and welcome to another review on the channel. This one is of my 2020 Panigale V2. So this one here, I got brand new. It's my first ever Ducati. Ordered it from Ducati Coventry here in the UK. I've always wanted one. Kind of went in there, bit the bullet, sold the R1 I had and got this after just one test ride. Absolutely amazing. I had a lovely experience. I said to them, look, it's my first Ducati, and they said, look, could you just keep me updated? I even got notes from the factory of when it was being built, when it was being shipped over, when it was being unpacked. It was like a real special experience. But anyway, so this is the 2020 version of the V2. It's the first one, the first edition, if that makes sense, of the V2 when it came out. This has got the 959 engine in it, which makes 155 horsepower. Different to the new V2, which has just come out now, which is now 890cc and makes 120 horsepower. This is kind of the bigger, older version of it. It's also distinctive for the new one because this one still has the single-sided swing arm on the back. And this one here, what I've done also as well is I've put on these Acropovich exhaust on the bottom. They are bloody expensive, £3,000 just for the end cans, but these were specifically made for this bike and had the engine map came with them for this bike. 5 horsepower gain, but really it's a noise, which I love for it. This one here, I've got the full Ducati race fairings on it as well. These are actually white, but they've had a wrap done in them. They've come in a wrap for the Ducati team World Supersport colours when this won the World Supersport Championship. Other things I've done to it as well are I've put on this K-Tech DDS rear shock. The main reason for this is if you've seen any of my other videos with this bike, especially when it was at Aragon, you'll see that it was pogoing when I was going through the corners, mainly from my massive heavy weight, to be honest. So the front and back were just up and down. So I've put that rear shock on with a stiffer spring to try and help counter that. This bike will be going hopefully to Mugello next year, which would be lovely to try that out. And it's also going to Donington in July. So it'll be good to see how that fares. Otherwise, she's standard. Apart from did I mention I've put some carbon SBS dual carbon brake pads in the front. But otherwise, that's what she is. She's standard. Here, this is just have a look at the display for you so you can see what it looks like. Fairly intuitive, fairly easy to read. So at the moment you can see on the right are the various engine braking, quick shifter, traction control, ABS and wheelie control. It's fairly easy to go through these settings. Just on the left here there's just a little switch on your modes which you go through. So for example, setting menu, riding mode, you have it in race. Engine, you can have high, medium or low. I like to keep mine in full power, and dynamic it's just a bit more of a initial kick to the engine. Traction control, you can scale this up or down, so you can go right down to track and maximum performance, or you can take it down to say road. I usually keep it on track and down to about 2. On the track, what that actually feels like is if you increase the traction control, you can feel it's a bit like you open the throttle up because it's ride by wire. You can see that it just feels a little bit woolly, if that makes sense. And as you turn that traction control down, it's more of an instant bite. Again, here you can do cornering, slide by brake. How cool is that? But you can change all these settings as well. Ducati wheelie control, so you can just reduce this down. I usually have it on 2. To be honest, it's only 160 horsepower, this bike, so it's not really going to wheelie. And engine braking, so I've set this as maximum engine braking, but you can turn this down. Oh, wait, there, let's go. Oh, come on. You can make this down, so it feels more like an inline 4. But I like to feel the full braking on this bike. And then quick shifter, which is up and down. And that is it. That's the. Let's go to exit. There we go. So yeah, as I said, it makes 160 horsepower, this one, because it's got the end can on it, compared to the 120 for the new V2. The other thing to bear in mind is that this is heavier than the new V2, and the new V2 only makes 890cc. So everyone's raving about the new one. I like this old one, but anyway, let's go for a test ride and see what you guys think. There you go. Hopefully you can hear that lovely V2 sound. Let's change the settings, get air temperature going. She does run hot, this bike. So I've got a GSX-R 1000, that'll run about 70 degrees, 71, 72. This thing will be up in the 90s. Oh, a lovely quick shifter. So this thing, the quick shifter works on this by, you can click up through the gears with the throttle fully open. You don't have to come off the throttle, you just click, click, click with your feet. It's also got a down quick shifter as well. You have to come off the throttle on this bike to do that. I know some of the more new Yamahas you don't have to do that, but this one here, off the throttle, click down, and it's got a blip on it as well. So what does it feel like? Really light and small. It feels more like a 600. I used to have a GSX-R 750 and it feels very much like that in terms of smallness and flickability. You can feel that you can steer more with your feet rather than with your hands. So here, just gliding through the corners. And that engine as well, like we're at 4,000 RPM at the moment. It just really wants to rev up higher. The more you rev it, the power builds and builds. There is no real flat line to that. And through these corners here, just feels so easy and planted. The advantage of having a bike which only makes 160 horsepower, I think, is that it's more rideable on the road. It doesn't scare me compared to some of the bigger bikes. I test rode one of the new Fireblades recently, the brand new one, the Fireblade SP, and that makes 214 horsepower. What an animal! I mean, a fantastic bike, but for the roads, I felt more like I was hanging onto the side of a rocket ship and kind of pointing it in the right direction. Whilst this one here, I can feel like I'm in charge of the bike more than it's in charge of me. Other things I like about it is the noise. I mean, that V-twin is it's just amazing. I hope Ducati keep making V-twins. They say that they're going to. It's a bit disappointing that they've gone down to 890cc now. But you know, they've built that bike for the Superstock class there, because when they were racing this one here, they had to restrict the power on it because of the fact that when it was going up against the other super sport bikes, it was too powerful, so it kind of didn't really make sense, which is why I built the new one. Any issues with this bike? So I've had it 5 years now. The water pump did fail on it just when it was about 2.5 years old. Let's just go in front of this guy here. Yeah, so any issues with the bike? It did have a water pump fail at 3 years old. This came with a 2-year warranty. Typically at 3 years, suddenly the temperature went up. It sounded like a hissing kettle. And I took it to Ducati and they said, yeah, some water pumps failed. Weirdly, it's a common trait with these Ducatis. I think the 1199 and the 1299 had it as well. For some reason, Ducati decided to have a plastic gear cog meshing with a metal gear cog on the water pump, and that just doesn't go. It just shredded all the teeth on the plastic gear cog. So Ducati were pretty good about it. Actually, I said, look, it's only 3 years old, that shouldn't have happened, and they only charged me, I think, for half the labour, and they covered all the costs of the parts, so that was pretty good of them. But again, this doesn't really make sense. If they knew there was an issue with older bikes and they put it into the new bike. Otherwise, it's been really good, no issues whatsoever. Starts first time, every time. I absolutely love it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this bike. I'm using it both for the road, as you can see here, as well as on track. The problem I have on track is that with these exhausts, I think they make about 115 decibels or something ridiculous like that on full acceleration, which is far too loud for the track. And UK tracks at the moment, like the noise limit is about 102 decibels, to the point where even some standard brand new road bikes on standard exhausts are failing noise test. It's ridiculous. So this one struggles on that. European track days, they don't care, it's wicked, you just turn up, they don't even noise test you. So I think this is going to be my bike, which will do summer road riding in the UK and then overseas track days for this one. GSXR will still stay as the main road for UK track days. It does get a little bit choppy at lower speeds. Like here we're doing what, 39 miles an hour, and it's a little bit jumpy, but you can soften that down. I mean, I've got it in full race mode at the moment. Right, if we go down to the 30s, it's got a lovely little on the override, it pops and bangs, which is amazing. I said to Ducati when they put this exhaust system on, I said, can you make it as loud as possible, please? And they're like, yes, absolutely. I love it. Why not have a massively loud bike when you've got a Ducati? It's the whole point, isn't it, really? But hey, look, 30 miles an hour, third gear, 3,000 revs, feeling good. We'll do a little roll on here when we get up to slightly higher speeds. And that's 50, we're at 55 even, just like that. It's so powerful. Even though it's only, what, 160 horsepower, it still excites. And this is where the strengths really are in this bike, is through these kind of windy country roads. It's so flickable. I've been lucky enough to ride the new V4 as well. What a beast. But that's physically much bigger than this bike. This bike still feels really small. I mean, you can see from the camera angle here, it feels more like a 250 in kind of size and shape than a big 1000cc superbike. See, I can feel the exhaust getting quite hot now underneath my butt. So even though the exhausts are at the bottom of the bike, there's two outlets each side of the front of the back wheel. The pipes, the exhaust pipes, routes underneath the rear seat. And well, the engine temperature is what, 86 degrees now. In the summer, like the proper summer, it's only like 14 degrees air temperature at the moment here in the UK. But as the days get warmer, this bike does run really hot, and you can, when it gets up to about 100 degrees C, that is quite warm under your butt. Now it's lovely when in the colder days like this. It's almost like having it is essentially a heated seat, but it does get a little bit when you're going through traffic or towns like this, and the bike temperature rises. As soon as you go quicker, the air kind of moves around the bike and the seat cools down. But for lower speeds, like down here in town traffic, just be prepared to warm yourself up a little bit. Position is really good. Again, reading about Ducatis before I got them, especially the 916, 998, 996, etc. They said they're really wristy, difficult to ride, quite uncomfortable with high knees. Not this bike at all. I found I don't feel as if my knees are up near my armpits. The pegs aren't too high. Handlebars are quite nice and wide. It's not like a racing tuck. It's really comfortable, and the seat's really comfortable as well. So I feel like you could You could do long trips on this without any issue whatsoever. Right, let's try some more B roads. So looking at the downsides, I suppose the major one really annoys me is the lack of a fuel gauge. I don't know how you can have a bike which can do slide by rear brake, change engine mapping modes, control how much the front wheel it lifts off the front with a wheelie control, yet it can't tell you how much fuel it's got in it. It makes no sense. And I know that the V4 has got a petrol gauge in it, so why didn't Ducati just stick a fuel gauge into this bike? It's so annoying. Like now I've got no idea how much fuel I've got in this bike unless I open the fuel tank, which is manageable, but it just means that you fill up every time. You have to kind of guess how many miles you've done before you start to run out of petrol. There is a fuel light, obviously, that comes on, but it's just annoying. I mean, like, just simple stuff like that, Ducati. Come on, it's such an amazing bike, but no fuel gauge. Planted through here, you just roll off the throttle, natural engine braking, and drive out the corner. There's this little touch of the brakes going into these corners and then just roll out. Lovely. This kind of roads like this that this bike was made for. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Ducati Panigale V2, the 2020 version. Please please subscribe for more videos. I'm looking to do one on my 1996 Honda Fireblade and a few more other bikes as well coming up, and a little bit more around the track days that I'm doing as well to give you an insight into that. So yeah, please subscribe, more videos to come soon.